Guys, welcome to the Caring for Creatures show. It's Jerry Miller. It's good to be with you on a Thursday across the I Love CVille Network. Mary Birkholz has got a fantastic contingent with her. Diane White and Joan Jolly, volunteers extraordinaire on the Caring for Creatures show. We're going to give you a firsthand perspective of what volunteering at CFC is like, and we're also going to do a demo, simple massage tactics that we can all do to our loved ones, our loved canines, to help them have perhaps an improved quality of life. Does not take an expert to do these. Joan Jolly, who is certified in this field, will make this approachable and very scalable to our home life. I think on that note, Harris Tolber's our director. Let's go to the studio cam and let's welcome the ladies to the show. Beth Wallace-Glass already says, Mary, it's great to see you.
Beth, hi Beth.
Diane White and Joan Jolly on the show. And Mary, I think the show is yours now. You give us an introduction of who we have here.
This is very exciting. I have two wonderful, wonderful volunteers here. Longtime volunteer Diane White. I know if you have communicated through our website at CFC Home email address, Diane has been communicating with you. Diane wears many hats at Caring for Creatures. She does our social media. She's doing the Facebook and currently now Instagram and Twitter, right? Yeah, we've added those, so Diane's gotten into that. She handles the dog orientations out at Caring for Creatures, which means new people who have signed up to do dog orientations. She introduces everybody. I'm not going to tell all the things.
Diane,
I'm going to let Diane. I'm going to let
Diane.
Right she works with donors in the sense that she works with gifts and thank yous and that kind of thing to help us out. So she's always busy.
I love it.
She's got
Diane
a full-time
White,
job.
jump in here. I mean, because I correspond with you, and you're so quick to respond. I love what you're doing with the Facebook page because you're really humanizing, localizing, and personalizing the efforts of Caring for Creatures, which is very important because as the mission and as the brand expands outside of Fluvanna County across the Commonwealth, she undoubtedly is one of the key personnel behind expansion of this brand.
Yep.
So talk to us about that, Diane White.
Thank you. With us, it's all about the stories. And we have such wonderful, heartwarming stories to tell. Yep. And I think that social media, what you're doing, Jerry, is a wonderful way to let people know what we're all about, the inner workings of Caring for Creatures, the day-to-day. Some of it's heartbreaking. Some of it is joyous, but it's all real. And we're helping so many animals. You
know, and I want to give you some props, and I do this not to embarrass you. I do this because I want to shine the spotlight on you. I think you, from a social media, and what we do for a living is an advertising agency, so we notice the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what you are doing is not good, it's tremendous.
Wow.
It is off the charts good. Like, you literally do an amazing job of personifying the animals.
Wow.
And I think when you personify the animals and tell the story behind the animals that need adopting at Caring for Creatures, you make them even more come to life. You make them their trials and tribulations so realistic that you get the folks that are on social, and let's face it, everybody is on Facebook. You get them feeling hooked.
Wow.
I get it back to that, like I don't know if it's the UNICEF commercial or whatever it may be with Sarah McLachlan, and the tears are coming down with Africa. I mean, you have that kind of effect with the animals. Put in perspective how you know, I'm sure this is something that you were not incredibly good at right at the beginning.
No.
Talk to me about your evolution as essentially a brand manager for Caring for Creatures, because that's what you're doing.
No, in fact, my son likes to remind me that he's surprised that someone my age can even turn on a computer. So, and he's never going to say much beyond that. But I think a lot of it used the word hooked. And I became hooked on Caring for Creatures, I think, the first time I was out there to visit. I think you came in the office a little bit later, Mary, and I was filling out the application there, and I think I said something like, "You're just not going to get rid of me." And
went,
7 years later, 3 times a week, pretty religiously, I'm out there. it's become my passion. And at my age, it was wonderful to find out what my real passion was in life.
Well, what I've found is, and Mary, you jump in here next, and we certainly need to shine the spotlight on Joan Jolly. What I've found is when you make your passion your profession, or your passion your hobby, then you start realizing that it's not really work. It's
That's
something you
right.
look forward to doing.
That's
and when you
right.
start looking forward to doing it, that's when excellence can go to a different level,
Yeah.
because you want to put the effort and you want to go through the process of becoming better. And props to you. You certainly have done that.
Thank you.
How about Joan Jolly, Mary Birkholz?
Okay, so the next step with Joan is amazing. And just so you know, Joan does not live around the corner from Caring for Creatures.
Okay.
She drives about an hour to get to the sanctuary.
Get
Yeah.
out.
She lives towards Richmond. And part of the rehabilitation of many of these animals, and she focuses her energy on the dogs and the massage. But as I think I've said on the show a few times, stress and anxiety are just a part of many of the rescue dogs that come to us. They're coming from a place of being lost, being fearful. Their bodies are tensed, and probably have been that way, some of them, for months or years. So Joan steps in. And I'm going to let her tell you, I just love to watch it when I'm seeing it from the distance.
And we're going to do it.
Yeah, you're going to do it, yeah. That when I see her going around to the various pens with the dogs and she gets to know them, and she's another one. I said with the dog walkers, they all get excited. Well, hers that she works with massage, they see her and they're like, yay! And you just see them start to turn to jelly, and they slide down on their tables and like, I am in heaven. And that's what Joan does.
Talk to us, Joan.
Yeah.
Jump in here.
Well, it's a great thing that I'm able to help the animals like that and give back to them, because they give us so much. And they deserve to be stress-free, and their injuries or ailments to feel better and just live a happy and blossoming life so that they can find their forever home.
I love it. What is it? You clearly are passionate about this. Talk to us of some of the elements that you enjoy when you're engaging, you're interacting, when you're improving the quality of life of these animals. You see the before and after. And I don't know if you're like me, but when I see tangible production for my efforts, it reinforces my efforts and makes me want to take it a step further, much like we were talking with Diane. Talk to me of the firsthand perspective of the things that you enjoy for what you do.
Well, the animals are just so grateful. They're always grateful for whatever you can do to help them out. And massage helps their mind, body, and spirit. So they're all connected. And if one's off, then you've got to correct that so that they all feel better and can live happier and be less stressed and relaxed and be able to go into the homes. And the touch therapy helps them to continue to get into the homes and be around the family and know that these hands-on are not going to something new, that they can continue to do what they do.
So you're basically,
Sort of, yeah,
she's
enjoy being
socializing
touched. Exactly.
the dogs
Exactly.
and getting
Yes.
ready for them to be home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think that's got to be incredibly important. And Mary, you can share this perspective. We got some fans outside watching. I think you can share this, because one of the missions for you is to take the most at-risk animals
That's right.
and rehome them.
Exactly.
So socializing them through touch therapy, I mean, it's got to be one of the top priorities.
Oh, it is. It's huge, because there are so many dogs that get into homes that are still stressed. And growling and biting and lunging are not that unusual with animals, and unfortunately, which is why education to me is so hugely important. Humans don't always understand. They feel as though the animal, I'm adopting you, I'm giving you this wonderful home and I love you. And they don't always understand that the dog might not be quite there yet with it. So the touch and the connecting with a human helps them. That's
The
a kind of a
assimilation.
bridge to when they get into a home and there's more hands and fingers touching them, they're connecting something very positive with that. But humans need to understand that it may not be a natural way for them immediately.
You're saying it's a work in progress.
It is a work in progress.
How
yeah.
did you get into massage therapy, touch therapy with dogs and animals in the first place? I mean, that is something you just don't pick up by going to the library and reading a book. How did you do this?
Correct. Well, I've always loved animals, grown up with animals all my life, and my husband and I adopted a rescue animal, and she has separation anxiety. So we tried to find something that would help alleviate this, and nothing seemed to make a big impact, and then we found massage. So I felt like, well, if it's going to help her, I can become a canine massage therapist and help others so that they can feel the relief and the benefits of massage also.
Cool.
So I have a
Sure, yeah.
The separation anxiety thing is huge
Yes.
because
Yes,
I have
yes.
had such an increase over the past 10, 15 years in animals and calls we get for help about separation anxiety. And you found with your dog that the massage eased that for her?
Massage helps.
Yeah.
And lavender essential
Yeah.
oil helps. But yeah, it was the only thing that really made a difference that you could really see.
Right.
I mean, she still goes
Nervous,
into some
yeah,
nervous,
yeah.
you know, she has nervous habits, but it's helped a whole lot. So I just felt like, let's
Yeah.
help everybody, every
Yeah.
dog that we can.
I love this, and I'm going to throw this to you, Diane. I love hearing the success stories at Caring for Creatures, and I love hearing how, like, it's almost like this collision of a lot of positive things coming into one area and one spot. And when Joan and when Diane and when Annie and when Mary and her team all are doing their part, then you have this collision of positivity that snowballs. And then you're able to take an animal that is so high risk, and then you're able to transition this animal into someone's home where they can find their people, and then they can have a lasting life for eternity. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You celebrate some of this stuff here. I'd like for you to put in perspective the positive impact it has on you, put in perspective the macro impact it has on Caring for Creatures, anything that's on your mind here.
Okay. I can't, it's hard to put into words just how important my experience with Caring for Creatures has been over the past 7 years. It's been life-changing, really. And I feel that the animals there are just, the dogs especially, are just part of my extended dog family. I mean, that's really what it feels like. I couldn't love them any more than if they were in my house every day. I love being in a position to make them feel better, especially when they come in from a high kill shelter or if they've been in a home. And this was hard for me at first. It was very difficult when a dog has been in a home 5, 8 years, and for whatever reason they needed to be returned to us. It can be a bankruptcy, it can be an illness, divorce, a move.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. And I just felt that I kind of just wrapped my arms around it, and these were the dogs I tended to gravitate to. And I
'Cause
find
you got a big heart.
Yes.
I just had to be with them. It felt better. And I spent more time with them. And I talked to them.
Yeah.
And I really know that they may not know the words, but they know
You
the
need
feelings.
to tell them the story of that we were talking about.
What story is that?
Lulu.
Lulu. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And what
She
you
was the
said
first.
To her, yeah.
She was the first one that grabbed my heart that way. I was fairly new, and the volunteer said, "Oh, these 2 new dogs came back. They've been in a home for 5 years. Do you want to go meet them?" I said, "No." No, I'm not ready yet. So the next time I was there, I went over and I met Lulu and her brother Torque. Just beautiful, wonderful dogs. Spent a lot of time with them. Torque got adopted pretty quickly. Lulu looked to him for guidance. She was lost without him. And I remember one rainy Tuesday, I just couldn't get her off my mind. And I had been in touch with the office, and they said she was just standing out there in the rain looking for him. And so I went over and I grabbed her. and I took her into one of the buildings, and we sat on the floor and we talked. And to back up a little bit, Lulu and Torque shared up the same pen, obviously. And then when Torque went home, we moved Lulu more to the front near the office so she could get more attention. And every time I walked her after Torque went home, she would always drag me back to that pen looking for him. So that Tuesday, when I was talking to her, I said, look, Lulu, I said, Torque is gone. I said, he's not coming back. He's in a very good home, and you're a wonderful dog, and you're going to find a good home too, I promise. And do you know that after that day, she never took me back to that pen?
Wow.
She just didn't.
It's amazing.
It touches your heart in a way that nothing else ever has with me. Very few things have.
I recently experienced that, and I have a question coming in. Patty Bowden's watching. She has a question from Animal Connection for you. But I recently experienced sharing firsthand perspective, and then Mary, you follow me with some. So I've talked on this show quite a bit of having 3 dogs, and my alpha, Lucy, who Mary helped me with, recently had a put down. Just shy of her 17th birthday. She was a Chow German Shepherd mix, and then I have 2 purebred German Shepherd boys that are brothers from same mom and dad, but 1 litter apart. The youngest looks up to his 6-month older brother Leo, and he looks to Leo for everything. Leo's got a little more chutzpah and confidence, so he doesn't need the guidance, But they always look to Lucy, who the 17-year-old, even though she was half their size, they always saw her as the pack leader because she was there from day one when I brought the 2 boys into the house. So when I had to put her down for, I don't know, I'd say a week, the boys were sleeping by the side door where we would always come in. And they would just not leave the side door, not eating as much. I would, try things like maybe guys, come on, let's go figure something out. And then, let's go outside, let's go for a walk, let's go this. And you could just tell they were depressed and down in the dumps. And then I sat down on the floor next to them and had the same conversation like you did. I'm like, Lucy is in a better place. She has crossed the Rainbow Bridge, and she is now chasing after the Kong. She's eating the best kind of food that she could possibly have. She's doing exactly what she wants to do. And this is so crazy. The next day, they stopped waiting by the side door.
That's cool.
And it's just like they have this instinct or this intuition. Or it's like, I think sometimes we take dogs for granted. And the energy that they're feeding and reading
There
off
is
us. Talk to me about that.
Absolutely no question. And I've said this, I know to you before, that not only is caring for creatures one of my missions, but my personal mission in the rest of my life here is to help and encourage people to see their animals from another perspective, because you're missing most of it. I think. Not everybody, but a lot of us. And I get crazy busy too, and I'll miss things, and I'll go, well, you stupid person, how did you miss that? But in another story related, I'm a shepherd person too, I love shepherds, but I had a couple of shepherds. My most recent one was Baron. He came into the sanctuary, was found alongside the road in a not good situation. But anyway, he and I fell in love the minute I laid eyes on him, and I knew I was in trouble. But anyway, there was a moment at some point, he and I was taking him for a walk around the perimeter, and it was my day off, and we were on our walk. And we got to a certain point behind the scratching post, and he suddenly starts growling, and his hair is standing up, and I'm like, okay. And he's looking right towards the woods. And I'm like, oh, dear God, please don't let a bear come charging out of there.
Copperhead.
Or something. I'd rather see the copperhead than the bear, quite frankly.
Me too.
But anyway, so I went, okay, let's just keep going. And so we kept walking, and a few minutes later, okay, we get to another part. He seems to have calmed down a little bit. We turn the corner, come up behind one of the other buildings, and I see something laying on the ground, on the path, the walking path. And I knew it was a body, and it was a dead body and of an animal. And so I stopped him. I happened to have my radio with me, and I radioed one of the staff, and I said, will someone please bring a bag to where we were? Got there, It was, and I know someone had to have planted this, but it was a domesticated rabbit with its head cut off. And it wasn't done by a hawk or anything else.
Yeah, clean
so
cut.
it was very clean cut.
Yeah.
So we put that away. And that dog, Baron, my dog, did not, he went into the yard, his fenced area, when we got home, and refused to come in the house. He was like standing guard out there. He refused to come in. And it was so disconcerting to me that I called a couple people I knew did animal communications, and they basically, both unknowing what the other one had said, came up with, he is picking up some humans who are being abusive
Sacrificing?
to animals, and he feels that energy. He's not happy with it. He is refusing to allow you to go out at this time. He is dispensable, he says, but you are not. And I went, well, he's not dispensable to me.
Right.
Anyway, I had to go drag him in at night because I refused to have him go stay out in the yard. But I waited, and I wouldn't walk him because I'd go with the leash. He'd run away from me, and that's just not my dog. And so after about, I guess, a week or 10 days, things seemed to calm down, and it got a little bit back to normal. But my point being, he was picking up all of this stuff happening.
You think it's the energy?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I don't know exactly. That was what he did. He just tended to pick things up and react accordingly.
I have a funny story about, I don't mean to interrupt you. Go
No.
ahead.
But that was my point, that if I had not paid attention to what he was saying to me, things could have been different. So I just feel like, well, and we have lots of stories of not only Diane, other volunteers and staff, with the animals showing them this. And I think they do it because we're open to it.
Sure.
We are welcoming. We're saying, yeah, what do you got? What do you got? Give it to me,
And I'd want to, and let me throw one out there, and Joan, you get an opportunity to start maybe thinking about kind of a firsthand perspective story that's similar that you could share with the audience if you have one. If you don't, no pressure. Kind of give you, set the stage for you here. I remember when the earthquake hit Louisa County in Mineral.
Yeah.
And Lucy, my 17-year-old, and she was like German Shepherd, bright, like ridiculously bright dog. German Shepherd and Chow Chow, two really smart breeds.
Yeah.
And she, for a week before the earthquake, was acting so weird. Like she was like pacing and like doing like many like stressful indicators, like the panting or the hair was falling out, or was doing that eye thing where they look at you and like, try to talk to you. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And then the earthquake hit.
Wow.
And I swear, and this sounds crazy, but I know this is what she was saying, whether it's like the tectonic plates or whether it's something that's moved, she knew that an earthquake was coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she was trying to communicate that. And it was just like, I guess where we're going with this is like, your dog is not it's more than a pet.
Yeah.
It's a family member that we need to welcome, embrace, and consider their body language and how they're trying to communicate to us, because they're literally are trying to talk to us. Joan, your thoughts here. What do you got? Any firsthand perspective on anything similar?
Well, in massage, that's the same thing. You have to be alert to what the dog's telling you and pay attention what you're feeling with your hands, using them as your eyes to find out what's going on with the dog's body. But also you have to see if the dog, a spot that you touch, he looks at you, or he moves and tries to hide that spot from you, or they will tell you what's going on or try to hide from you what's going on. And just like when they have an injury or something that's wrong, they don't want you to know sometimes, and they continue to go along with everyday lives, and we don't see that there's something because they don't want us to be upset that there's something wrong. They want us to please us, but they tell us every day all kinds of things, and in massage I get to feel what's going on as well as have to watch, because if I hit a sore spot that doesn't feel too good,
They might
they're going
turn
to
a
really
quick
tell
hit.
me. Yes,
Yeah.
they're going to tell me and let me know. So I have to be aware of what's going on and what they're telling me, so I can do the right
Love that
massage
answer.
techniques.
Got a question from the chat from Patty. Do you use essential oils for massage and calming? And if so, what do you recommend if you do use essential oils?
Yes, I do. They need to be organic and therapeutic brand, and the lavender is the go-to. Lavender relaxes the muscles, lavender relaxes the mind, and that's the one that most people would be able to get their hands on and use, and most dogs like that. But we did have, yes, I was telling them in the car, Dallas. He was a
Dallas the dog.
Yes,
I
Dallas.
like Dallas the dog.
He's missing one of his legs, but he got around and was just having a good time and loved the massages. But one day I had the lavender on me, and he did not like, just like everybody has their likes and dislikes, he did not like that. He didn't want to look at me. He did not want me to come near him. He barked at me and refused to let me touch him in any way to do a massage. But he was a big massage lover, so I guess he just doesn't like lavender oil. So you really should have your dogs try to just open the bottle and let it come out in the air and see how they react also, because it could be that they don't like it either. Or my dog, who has the anxiety, she smells that lavender in the air and she comes and, okay, put it on me. I need it, please, now.
What kind of dog do you have?
It's a Chihuahua mix. She's about 12 pounds.
Okay. How about you, Diane?
I have a Caring for Creatures dog,
Oh,
of
goes big
course.
surprise, yeah.
Miss Nova is an extreme sleepover fail. I brought her home when it was really hot, and I think I was in the house less than an hour, and my husband looks at me and says,
We're keeping this dog.
She's
out.
not going back in. And she was 11 at the time.
Is that Raymond?
That's Raymond.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
She was 11 at the time. She's 14 now. She's still going strong.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
She's a character.
Mary and I literally saved
Oh,
her
God, that's
life one day over at the sanctuary.
What's that story?
She's an escape artist, and she's terrified of storms, even storm fronts coming in, she would know. But I don't think anything was going on that day.
No, it
and
wasn't
it
a
was
storm
late in the
day.
day, and Mary and I were the only ones there. We heard the screeching. We ran down to Nova's pen, and they had recently put a top on it so she couldn't get out. And I don't know that she didn't realize that, but there she was hanging by one leg.
Oh, no.
One leg she was hanging. And
Yeah, she got it stuck between the gate
and
the
we
rest
couldn't
of
get the gate
fence.
open. So Mary and I had to take turns ramming our hands through the pen and holding her up, because if we let her go, she would just be dangling. And it was terrible. And I spent half the time laying on the ground, because from the stress I felt like I was going to pass out. So I would say, "Yeah, I'll be with you in a minute, Mary. I'll be right there." But luckily
That's
I
when
had.
you get a cocktail, when you get a glass of wine or something.
But luckily, I think one of us had our cell phone
Yeah.
on us, and she called a neighbor who was able to come down. He actually had to break the pen apart to get to her.
Yeah.
And, these dogs are so resilient. I went to see her the next day. It's like, "Hey, how are you? Let's go for a walk." I thought for sure she had broken something, but
No, we gave her some. I gave her some arnica, homeopathic, for her muscles and probably some stiff joints. And yeah, she was none the worse for wear. We were much worse.
we had bruises.
We
up
had
and down our
bruises all up and
arms.
down our arms from supporting the weight of her, and she
Yeah.
was
She
what,
was 60
60
pounds.
Wow.
So it's
So
not
I'm
a
sure she's
small
forever loyal
dog.
to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you saved her life. You
Well,
literally saved
I
her
mean,
life.
yeah, she is loyal.
Yeah,
she
she
is. She's just a character. At
Yeah.
14, I came down the other morning, and the front door was open, and no Nova. Not inside, not outside. And I got in the car, and I thought, and she'd never done that before, so I was terrified. She's 14, hard of hearing. And I went the route that we normally walk, didn't see her, came back, and there she was, moseying up the hill, coming back home. Took herself for a walk around the neighborhood.
How about, I'm going to throw this to you. I'm going to ask you this question after Diane. The question I'm going to ask you is, you drive an hour from Richmond to be a part of Caring for Creatures. I mean, that's some serious commitment. I'm going to ask you why you do that. The question I'm going to ask to you is, you know, it takes a special, big-hearted person to adopt an older dog. A lot of folks want dogs that they can plan the next 10 to 15 years of their life raising and being around and creating happy memories with. When you're adopting a dog that's 11 years old, you know that they're most likely, depending on the size and breed of the dog, past their halfway point. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
Why older dog? To put it in perspective, the joys that come with adopting an older dog, because I think those are stories, success stories that should be shared to debunk the stigma of older dog adoption.
It's the first time I've adopted an older dog, and I will probably continue to do that. I already have my eye, and he isn't really old, but he's a dog that I'm not sure how adoptable he will be, just based on his looks. Is Roscoe. Doesn't have a lot of hair. Someone said that he's a prince on the inside, and he is.
He is.
He's
He is
lovely.
that.
And I will never not adopt a dog that's adoptable, I guess. I want to bring home the ones who otherwise may not have a chance to have a family.
It's amazing.
And I love it when I just see her, you know, curled up on her bed inside when it's raining or cold, and knowing that she knows she's safe and she's secure. When she came home with me, she was on a couple of different meds for anxiety because of storms primarily. Now she's off all her meds. She's not that bad with storms anymore. She comes, she finds me, she'll get on the sofa behind me, and I kind of press her and give her that kind of pressure therapy.
Contact. Yeah.
And that seems to feel good to her. So, yeah, to me, there's no better feeling than knowing that you saved a life, and you changed that life.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to throw the question to you, Joan. Jaylene Tonko says, I'm here, and Mary Birkholz and Caring for Creatures are simply wonderful. Jaylene Tonko, thank you very much for being a part of this program. You drive almost an hour from Richmond to the heart of Fluvanna County to an animal sanctuary that's Central Virginia's first no-kill animal sanctuary. Why do you do this?
Well, it's to help the animals. They deserve it. They give us so much, and it's a beautiful drive. I don't mind the drive at all. And the animals just give so much to all of us, and I just wanted to give back and make their lives the most that it could be, so that they can find their forever homes and give the most that they can to the family that adopts them, just to help make them more adoptable, and just to look in their eyes and see. It's amazing to see the thanks that they give you. You just can't put that into words, because it's just the best feeling in the world.
It's unconditional.
Yes.
I love that feeling.
And I've seen changes. I don't know that I ever mentioned this to you, but I was telling Mary, Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth, the
Yes.
dog?
Oh, Babe's
In fact, there's a picture of Babe Ruth. I give car rides a lot.
Yeah.
Don't get me going on that. Anyway, I noticed Babe Ruth had a kind of a bad habit.
Babe.
She just loves people. And the only reason she hasn't gotten adopted is because she doesn't like other animals. She adores people. And whenever it was, you'd take her for a walk, and when it was time to head back to the pen, Babe Ruth had this really bad habit of just climbing onto your leg and humping you. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, there's no other word.
But there you go. And it was painful. And so Mary gave me the tip of having a treat and saying, go find it, and throwing it, and we inch our way back to the pen that way. But I have noticed, I didn't know you were working with her. And remember I said she'd be a great candidate?
Yes,
you said, I've been working
definitely.
with her. Volunteers were coming up to me and saying, you know, Babe doesn't do that anymore. And I think it's in direct correlation to the work you were doing with her. I think just to have that extra stimulation to relax her on a regular basis has helped her tremendously.
Yeah, she's a snuggle bug. She loves to have her massages, and she puts her head in my lap, and she doesn't want you to leave. I mean,
No.
I just call that a big love hug, is what she does. She just hugs you and is like, don't leave me, please, you
But
know.
it hurts.
But she enjoys her massages, and she's a beautiful dog. I
is.
just
She
hope
is.
she'll find her forever home. And
I do
and I think
too.
she just, as a human, loves human
Yes.
companionship and to be, with humans. So she would be a wonderful pet.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? Why don't we get the team ready? So Joan Jolly is going to put those beautiful hands into work here with a short demonstration here in our I Love CVille studio, our first offset demonstration in I Love CVille history. JW, if we can get you getting ready to rock and roll, you're going to have a little bit of work for you. As we get ready to move offset to do this demographic, you're going to be the only one in front of a microphone.
Oh,
So
no.
what I'm going to have you do
Thanks, Jerry.
is I'm going to have you give a little, maybe 15 to 20 second play-by-play of how you've talked a bit already about Babe Ruth, of how the massage therapy is helping these animals. Give us more of that firsthand perspective as we set up offset to do this demonstration with Joan Jolly on Liza, the I Love CVille mascot, who is a Caring for Creatures rescue. So Joan, we'll go with the plan we have in play. You'll go first. I'll follow you. You know where to go. And Diane White, give us that firsthand perspective on massage therapy and animals. You got this. I know you got this. No problem at all. You got this.
Well, actually, I know one of the things that we all wanted to talk about today, and it's not massage therapy, sorry, Jerry, but it's about volunteering and how important it is to volunteer at a place like Caring for Creatures. The staff, we have a small staff, and they're hardworking. And for them to help 200 animals every day, they go through 2 feedings, and then they clean up. It's a lot. Volunteers are vital to the business of Caring for Creatures, and I can't stress that enough. We step in and we provide that extra. And it's not even an extra, it's necessary. I mean, we've helped even... Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Cat socialization is huge, and we get cats in who are close to feral oftentimes, and they need to become comfortable with humans.
All right, guys. So we are on. Let's just go ahead and call this set 2. Harris Tolber, our director. If you guys knew what goes behind doing a demo like this, you would be totally surprised. Joan is going to give us some simple remedies or strategies that we can do at home while working with our furry friends and helping them have an improved quality of life. Liza is a rescue here from Caring for Creatures. So, Joan, we are going to rely on you for some play-by-play.
All right, the first thing is just a very simple technique you can do for arthritic joints or sore muscles. And you're just going to take your hands and rub them together so that they get nice and warm. And then it's easy just to cup the sore joint or lay your hand on the muscle that's sore. And if you use a joint like this, you don't want to pull or push on the joints. You just want to kind of cup it, and you can rub up and down the leg to kind of warm it, because that's where they get a lot of arthritis and things. The next thing is kind of a fun spot. I call it the bahui, but I'm sure that's not the way it's...
Wait, the bahui. What's the bahui here?
The bahui is back right in front of the tail, and you take your fingers and you just kind of rub back and forth, and sometimes they start to, it's like a tickly spot. Sometimes it's like, ooh, I like that, but I don't know, Liza doesn't look fazed.
So this is how Liza always looks.
But you just take it, and some dogs will react, and you'll have a good time with this massage technique. The other one that's most important is palpitations, and this will get you in tune with your dog's body. So if you do this once a month, you can feel the whole body. You'll find if anything is going on, you will be alerted to it because you'll get used to how your dog's body feels if you do this once a month. And you're just going to go from head to tail, and you're just going to use your hands with very light pressure all over just to kind of get in tune with what her body feels like. And if there's any, you want to look for heat, cold spots, lumps or bumps, or anything that just doesn't feel right, you will be able to kind of think about it and go, maybe I need to talk to my vet about that, and you'll have a timeline because you didn't notice it last month, but this month you did. And it's a good way to keep your dog healthy and just kind of give her an artificial massage on the limbs, on the stomach. You go down the back and even down the tail and behind the ears and up on the head. So it's just something artificial and light that you can do and it's a nice bonding experience too. But Liza, you don't look fazed at all.
No, I think Liza loves it. She's just a great dog.
Great. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's just great and chill, very chill.
She's laid back. Joan Jolly. So what we're going to do is, as we migrate back to the set, we are going to cut this Harris into a sizzle reel, the massage portion, and then we will send this to Mary in Caring for Creatures so she can send out to folks so we can learn from. These are some strategies for some at-home massage tips that we all can do to help improve the quality of life of the animals we love oh so much. So why don't we do this? I will grab the leash for Liza. You head back to your spot. Judah, you're going to get this mic. Teamwork for the dream work right here on I Love CVille. Diane, your time to talk.
Oh, here we go again. Well, I'm going to talk about volunteers again, and all the different types of niches that you can find at Caring for Creatures. Even though I do the dog orientation and it's focused on walking dogs, there's so much more to get involved in. We have a wonderful team in Charlottesville, for example. Judy, you know Judy Jagger and Liz. They do events for us, which is so important, and we need people like them to be able to go out there and be ambassadors for Caring for Creatures. Sometimes it involves bringing a CFC dog, sometimes it doesn't. It's a matter of handing out materials. But we do such good things here, and we need more people to know that. And one of the ways to get that out there, get the message out there, is by being out in the community and being at these events, but we desperately need volunteers to help with that.
I love it.
Yeah,
Diane White is doing really
yeah,
good right there. Dan. Let me give you some props over there, Diane White. Nicely done. Let's get the show to you. What have we learned here? Anywhere you want to go. Why don't we do this? All of us, kind of a final word.
Okay.
And you'll get 2 final words. So you get a final word here. You're the star. You guys get a final word anywhere you want to go, and we'll close with Mary one last time.
Okay. I'm going to stay with the volunteer for my first closing aspect because it's so critical. And I know I've said this more than once, but volunteers enhance everything we do. There's another perspective. There is another open heart that's coming to help these animals. And not every animal responds to every human. So the more different humans that you have, you find that one human that's going to connect with the animal that seems like there's not many that he or she connects with. And that's why you need that person. We have, as Diane says, there's off-site activities, fundraising and stuff. You know, we're always raising money for some medical thing, for some item. You know, these are critical things that we need. And anytime you can help with these little off-site things, you have no idea how it's helping us. It is absolutely huge. And, you know, from what every volunteer who has been with us for a while says to me, I get so much more back.
Right.
You know, your investment is returned tenfold. So I welcome you to give it a shot.
I love it. I love it. I encourage you guys, and we'll go next to you, Joan. Diane, we got to make sure we get that beautiful brain of yours in the mix as well before we close the show. I encourage you guys to follow Caring for Creatures on Facebook. I follow a lot of brands because of what I do as an ad agency owner, and the engagement that is on the Caring for Creatures Facebook page is second to none. Okay, so if you want to see a behind the scenes, or if you want to see the organization personified in its great form and its tribulations as well, I encourage you just to give Caring for Creatures, look them up, type it in the search bar, Caring for Creatures, and give them a like, because I think what you're going to find is an organization you're going to want to get a part of. Joan Jolly, show is yours.
I just want to say I just enjoy Caring for Creatures, and I feel like the staff, the volunteers, and the animals are like one big happy family. And it's just, you can see the passion that everyone has there to make the animals' lives the best that they can be. And I just enjoy going out there, and I don't need to get anything back, because it's just a pleasure to be with the animals and give them a little bit better life that will help them blossom and become a healthy and happy pet.
Love it. I see why you invited Joan Jolly today. You're very good. Diane White, the show's yours.
Well, I guess I'd like to start by thanking Mary Birkholz for starting all of this and for being the brave person that she is, because it took a lot of guts to do what Mary did. And 30 years, and it's not easy. I know it's not easy. And Mary perseveres. And she wants to help every animal out there that she possibly can. And one of the things that kept me coming back in the beginning was I'm pretty soft, especially when it comes to dogs. So it had to be the right situation for me to be able to handle it. And I saw how the dogs, especially, because that was my focus, everybody knew them. Mary paid individual attention to the animals. They got individual attention. They'd come up from the high kill shelter in South Carolina looking pretty ragged, thin, their coat is terrible. Within a week, you could see a difference, just not in their demeanor, but the way they looked, because Mary believes in feeding nutritious food. It makes a big difference to these animals who have gone through so much and are so stressed. And I just want to say a big thank you for being here, Mary, and for persevering. I know it hasn't been easy.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm going to hand out some more kudos myself to our staff. I love my staff, and I know there's days they think, oh, she's crazy. But you know what? These folks are dedicated. I love each one of you. The work that you do, they put together a brief video, very brief, about some puppies that we are looking to place.
And Harris, why don't we have that get ready to cue? Let Mary continue, and then when she's finished, I'll throw it to you to cue, and then you count us back when we're done with the video.
It's not easy for them either. You know, the position is not one that's going to make them millionaires. They have to come from their hearts too, because every day they come in there and what they just cleaned and fixed the day before is all messed up again. You know, the dogs and cats, well, that's what they do. They soil their surroundings sometimes, so you fix it up and make it better. Or they're sick, and you know, it's a joint decision when we feel an animal is at its time of leaving, that we've done everything that we can. And Heather and Kristen, who do primarily a lot of the medical stuff, along with Dr. Marty, they'll come to me and say, here's what we're seeing, here's what Marty has said. And we want to make sure the animal's ready to leave. It's important. So, but we make that decision, and this is not easy on people. And bless their hearts, they come in every day and make it happen. So I invited them, if they were willing to take some time to do it, that every week we're going to have a little staff video or something they're featuring. They're going to give you their perceptions of some animals, and 30 seconds isn't a lot of time, and we'll get a little better at our presentation perhaps, but today you're going to see a bunch of cute puppies.
Okay, so why
Yeah.
don't we do this, Harris? I'll give you the cue. We'll say it's now. We'll get you a chance to cue it up, and then you count us down when we're ready to come back on air. Harris Tolber is our director. Our first integration of a video of the Caring for Creatures staff on the Caring for Creatures show. Harris Tolber, whenever you're ready, sir.
Hi, my name is Kristen and I work at Caring for Creatures. This is Destiny and Heather, and these are star puppies. They were born February 1st, 2019, and they'll be ready for adoption at the end of March. And I have Aries and Libra.
I have Orion and Gemini. This is Ava, who's already on hold, and then Karina. And if you're interested, you can go ahead and call us at 434-842-2404 or go on our website at caringforcreatures.org.
So what do we see, Mary? We just watched the staff right there. Talk to us a little bit about that as we wind the show down.
Okay, Kristen, Destiny, and Heather were the staff individuals. The puppies are the litter babies from Star. Star, I think probably if you might have seen her running back and forth on the floor, she was one of 2 dogs left alongside the road right before Christmas, and someone brought them to us. We didn't realize she was pregnant until probably 3 weeks or so later, after all the food was going for the puppies. So she's had her puppies. The friend she was abandoned with has gone to a new home. And now Star is also available, as well as her puppies. And I think one of the puppies is on hold. I think they probably said that. Ava's on hold, but we have 5 beautiful puppies looking for their home. Get in touch with us.
I love
They'll
it.
be ready to go.
Caringforcreatures.org is the place to get to know the animals a little more, along with their Facebook page. And that's facebook.com/caringforcreaturesVA. Get involved. Vicky Krabinis, what a great job, Mary and Diane.
Thank you, Vicky.
I miss Caring for Creatures so much, and Bella says hello too. David Heist says the show is fantastic. I have thoroughly enjoyed the program.
Thank you.
I encourage you to put in your iPhones Thursday at 3 p.m. Thursday at 3 p.m. Set a reminder for the Caring for Creatures show. This talented lady over here is doing a great job of raising awareness for the Caring for Creatures show across their social channels, including their e-newsletter, where she is publishing the show in essentially its syndicated format, following the show on Facebook and through email. I think you do a very good job with that.
Thank you.
I have thoroughly enjoyed this. It was challenging, and Mary came in with her always can-do and confident attitude. And I kind of needed a little like a husa moment, because I was feeling a little stressed, and I felt the vibes from Mary and got a little unstressed. And that's a testament to who she is as a leader. For Diane White, for Joan Jolly, and of course for Mary Birkholz, Harris Tolber, Judah Wickower, and Laura Linsky helped make the show possible. I am Jerry Miller. It is the Caring for Creatures on the I Love CVille Network, and we cannot wait to connect with you again on Thursday at 3 p.m. of next week. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon in Central Virginia. So I went well. Yeah, we did well.
Yeah.
You did really, really well. I mean, you got put on the spot here. I didn't realize that Jerry didn't have the mic.
I know.